Hey, Kayla. Evening. Oh, by the way, I got one of those things you told me to get. You're gonna go, what now? Yeah, let me just try and. Ach, niemand. Ah, this is kach. Stupid buttons. Trying to get some of the excessive red out of the whole thing. Anyway, yeah, we've got a 1990 that's given us hell. Turn up data recovery. It's probably going to be the same thing as always. I guess we're just sort of wondering whether we're going to have a solid VREG failure or whether we're just going to have a shorted rail. But Kodo, yeah, there we go. No, there we come back. So yeah, I got one of those. So we'll have a play with an SMC later with that. See how it goes. Alrighty, let's get to it. It's getting late, and I'm getting old. Hey, Kenny, Steve, Travis, Paul, Blood, Pedro. Pedro, what's Pedro doing here? Hey, John. But yeah, these 1990s, they're showing up in a ever increasing rate at the moment, and they're also failing at a very disturbing rate. Oh, also, I did get the splitter today. Unfortunately, it did not work out. It does work in forcing the mode, but the trouble is the mode it's forcing. Hey, I've got a missing screw there. The mode it's forcing, the color model, is not something that I can interpret correctly. Yeah, it's a bit of a bugger. But I have some ideas. There's got to be a way to reprogram it to issue a different mode. And I see that it has got a little Atmel, I think it's a 24C08 in it, which is, I think it's a 4K or 8K chip, and it probably has the information in it. Anyway, alright, so this is choked up, which straight away leads us to think, well, we might get lucky. I'm not seeing any actual damage over there, but there's enough dust there that we might actually have a cat failure rather than a VREG failure, which would be a vastly nicer option. So anyway, yeah, with the camera, we're basically going to have to live with what we've got here now. So this is pretty much how it's going to be. So, okay, so the VREGs aren't touched, so that's good. If you get corrosion there, it's basically game over. In this case, they're not touched, so we have a chance. Typical. Okay, let's get this thing apart. See how quickly we can get this apart. Tick-tock, Paul. Tick-tock! Freaking bugs. Everywhere! Okay, fan speed. Let's get a ludicrous fan speed. You can see the bugs flying around me. Nothing much you can do about them. They get through the tiniest of gaps. So we don't have to seal our houses for preventing hot air getting out, in case it's winter and you want to make sure you don't waste energy. We have to seal our houses against bugs coming in, which has a similar sort of ability to get through the smallest of gaps. And we are having atrocious weather here at the moment. It looks like for the next week at least, we're going to be facing anything between 100 to 110 Fahrenheit, which is foreign to me because basically it's going to be 40 to 42 is what we're looking at for the next week, and that is distinctly unpleasant. What is this? This is that's a 1041 board, I think. It's not a 1700 because it doesn't have all the horrendous flexes around it. So I think it's a... Yeah, we'll find it when we get the board out. Hey, Six Hills, Nelson. Expandable foam. Yeah, that is ugly stuff to clean up, and after about a decade it looks really ugly. Actually, even after just a couple of years, that expanding foam, because they use polyurethane, the urethane starts going real nasty yellow. Which is not too bad if you can actually expand it into a sealed cavity or an enclosed area, and then you can't see it from the outside. But if it has any kind of weather exposure, oh my goodness, it is ugly stuff. You hear about the Brisbane floods? Yeah, I've seen about that, and northern New South Wales. It's pretty drastic down there. I think they stole all our rain, to be honest. It happened about a decade ago, and it's happening again. Well, Gavin, we do have air conditioning, so for as long as the power is still running, we will be quite okay. If the power should happen to stop, then it's going to be like in Riddick, and we're going to have to take a walk on crematoria. Hey, Warren Stamps, evening. Okay, these two sneaky little T4s. I don't know why they changed them to T4. Everything else was T5, but oh, gotta have T4 for those. Fill in the cracks and cork over and paint. Yeah. That's why you do 2 layers of cork or 3 layers of cork. Sikaflex does pretty good. Sikaflex Pro. They make a good substance for that sort of thing. Come on, Paul. At least this isn't a 1700, so yeah, there's a chance we can save this. If it is the model that I'm thinking, there will be 1 or 2 caps on the other side of the board here, and they will be deliciously corroded. Hopefully we can just replace them and this machine will be back up and running. If we're unlucky, what will happen is that corrosion will have wicked its way through a few of the layers of the board, and we'll end up with a inner layer short, and that's usually also a dead end rabbit hole. Flex seal, just slap it on, eh? Jim, yeah, but I mean, they are in Queensland, down in Brisbane, but we're pretty much 1,000 miles north of them, down there. Queensland is one hell of a big state. And we're not even really north, we're more like mid-Queensland. Oh, come on, man. Because I think from us to the top of Queensland is at least another, I think it's about 1,000 kilometres. Certainly it's a good 400 to Cairns. And then you've got, okay, maybe it's more like 600 kilometres. Either way, it's a long way. Okay, well, we've certainly got a lot of dust in there. That's okay. I'm kind of thankful for it in some ways. Alright, so the signature fault is down here, right where the teenage growth is. Probably hidden under that. We don't need that. We'll brush it away for a corrosion reveal. There we go. Yep. And that will be our shorted cap. Good God, what is wrong with the coloration there? Yes, it's quite a long walk. It reckons it's open circuit. I'd say it's only saying it's open circuit because it's destroyed itself. That's definitely a dead cap. You can actually see the void in it. There's a void in there. Man, the monitor that I am looking at with this, it's got a serious color balance problem. I just realised I don't have my silicon mat under that. Let's fix that up. I took it off today because I was working on a controller board off a CAT G300, I think, road processing truck machinery. Something happened. One of the cable looms got eaten up by the something, and it blew out a few parts. And they brought it around here to see if I could fix it, and hopefully it is fixed. Just have to wait and see until tomorrow when they come around, pick it up and plug it in. Hey, Pro Engineer. Hey, Frank Castle. I'm more of a fan of Alexis, but anyway. Real name Molly Quinn. Well, it looks like she's dating Blimmin' Sideshow Bob now, which saddens me. Then again, right. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to hot air this thing off. I sort of didn't want to do too much hot air on the area, but looks like we're going to need it. Yeah, well, we've got to fix this. Someone wants their data, Frank. Someone's going to be able to prove their innocence with it. There's a lot of corrosion, so I guess we better go look around, see if there's anything else. We do need to replace that cap as well. Okay, we've got a secondary hit here, and that's on the CD32s. So we'll just brush that off. We are going to have to fix that. This one's copped a little more damage than some of the others. Gold, yeah. Grey, black, brown, white and gold. That's pretty much it, yeah. I could throw a bit of green in there if you like. I say we basically just take those straight off. Hey, Crazy Logics. Well, late night, behind all my jobs. Madman as always. Hunter Biden's laptop. Wasn't that just a big fake story in the end? I don't know. I'm going to try and focus the heat on the CD3215 because it doesn't matter. We do want to get these two parts off. So 1, 2. I am going to have to fix this screen up because this is complete BS. I cannot see what I am doing on this screen. Menu. 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 It's like I need to get a new screen or something, because this one just does not have the brightness that everything is maxed out that I can tell. I guess that's what you get when you only pay, you know, a couple of $100 for a screen. I'm just going to crank everything to max. Maximum brightness. Dynamic contrast, is it? That. That sucked. I've got everything cranked up and it's useless. Oh well. Yeah, I don't have a gamma correct function. The only way I'm going to have a gamma correct is if I do it... Actually, maybe I can do it since I've got the stupid Ubuntu crap up. And it has a very limited display control on it. Let's see, display 1. BenQ, well, that's a bad start. Nope. No ability to set the color or anything like that. How useless. Oh, color. Okay. Automatic. Well, that's useless. No, it's basically useless. Okay. I think I just need to get a better screen. It's been low on my list of things to do. Because I've got 3 screens here. It would be nice if I could just use something like a iMac screen. A couple of 27-inch iMac screens. Now that would be quite pleasant. Because they are very nice screens. Even if people don't like the machines, the screens are nice. One of the few glossy type screens that I can tolerate using. Use the HDR on the camera. It does funky things, like you sort of gain in some areas but you lose in others. I'm pretty happy with how it looks on a proper screen. I don't really want to activate HDR. Yeah, Frank, it's actually already loaded the profile. I think what the problem is that the screen is getting old. And I think the backlights just aren't generating what they should anymore. Oh man, this is a cluster. This is a drive-by shooting. Give me some assistive heat, please. And that second pad there still has some sort of corrosion on it. Frank, right now, yeah, it's GNOME. Normally I use Fluxbox, but I was a bit of an idiot and upgraded so I could use the latest kernel, so that I could get access to certain functions on the capture card, and the fact that this is Alder Lake chipset, sorry, CPU. Anyway, when I moved up to the latest Ubuntu, they seem to have put Wayland as their primary display manager, desktop manager, whatever. I know they are different. And my preferred system, which is Fluxbox, does not behave so well on it. And I don't think it ever will, unless I'm the one that goes along and reprograms it to behave better under Wayland. I'm not a great fan of Wayland. I think it's a solution for a problem that really isn't actually that prevalent. Dave Jones to do dumpster. Yeah. Full wave, no, we're seeing you. Hey, 3X, how's things going over there? Hey, Luke Davis. Not enough flux. Okay, that's going to be good enough. And when I reflow everything back into place, it will be fine. I just have to find out what those parts are. Okay, use XDM Ratboy. I know Ratboys, and I don't know XDM that well. But yeah, I've been using Fluxbox since pretty much 2001. Okay, we've lost our multimeter, I think. Yeah, we have lost access to the multimeter. Let's see if it works now. Okay, that works now. Good. Better find a board and put a few pieces on it. Let's see. Oh, I didn't even bother to check to see what this board is. Like, so I'm pretty sure it's like a 1041 or something like that. Yeah, 1041. Yep. And this is a 928. Okay, so configuration is different. So what I'm going to have to do is find the values of those parts and put new ones in there. Yeah, so we want that resistor. Lucky for us, that's a 0, so we just have a short circuit there. And that capacitor. Ah, damn it, 220 picofarad, and it's gonna need to be done properly, that one. Alright, 0 ohm 201, that's fine. 201. Assuming I can find my 201s. $402. Oh, that's right, my 201s, they all exist in a big pile. I should learn to be a bit more responsible in this. Hey Keith, why'd you put 13 volts into a CPU? Why would you do that? What compelled you to do that? Oh, we could use a 1 ohm, that's close enough. To 1.8. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've got 0 in this stack. If not, it'll be in the other box. Yep, there we go. Zeros. Come here, dude. This is just a little click beetle hanging out in the wrong neighborhood. Paul, I do occasionally try various things, but basically the answer to that is hell no thanks. There is so many things that I do with the Linux system that I would not find as easy to do in Windows. It's really a case of picking your poison, to be honest. Because yeah, there's some other things in Windows that would be easier than what they are for me in Linux. But yeah, the opposing applies as well. So no, I'm not going to change. I mean, crikey, even Lewis has gone back to Linux. That's saying something. Especially now too that I've got full drive support with the capture card, you know, all these other things. And you know, it's the problem I'm facing right now here is just that the screen I'm using is old and dying, and the backlight has deteriorated from what it should be. John, basically I just keep up with whatever the latest Ubuntu is. Now I know that's not very cool or anything like that, but quite frankly, I'm not in the business of trying to be cool when it comes to what tech I'm using. I'm basically just doing the job. Now, of course, some people say, well, you're using Linux, aren't you trying to be a bit of a hipster there? And it's like, I don't see it that way, because, I mean, I have been using it for the last 25 odd years, 24 years. Okay, so we've got to find that part, that 220.16.201. So let's find a part. The bug just flew in my mouth. I felt it to go down my throat, and ah, great! I got moth scales in my throat now, I think. Yeah, it's not what you want. 16 volt 201. A bit unpleasant. Paul, with that, no, see the trouble is there are so many other things that I do other than just streaming, and I also, because I use this machine for, even when I'm not streaming, as in I do my daily recordings and I do all my test analysis and all that sort of stuff. It's, the machine doesn't just operate as a stream, and I wouldn't want to, I would have to duplicate all the connections and everything like that and boot to Windows. It's really not worth it. And like I said, you're going to run into just as many headaches in Windows, but just in different areas. Like for one, I wouldn't be able to run the infrared software because a driver doesn't exist under Windows for that camera. So that alone, that would require I have to spend another $1,000 and get a decent infrared camera. So yeah, it's a case of, like I said, you got to pick your poison. Let's see, we use the 239, unless there's a 165 lurking in here. 250, no, 239. Okay, exactly the same sort of principle as what we're replacing. C113. Okay. Hey, boss. It's yeah, a lot of my data capture and diagnosis development type software would not run on Windows, not easily. And the way Windows locks you out with regards to drivers these days, it's an unpleasant process trying to get through that. C113, this doesn't match up. It's showing up as a well, I mean, yeah, it's like I said, it's more a case of each to their own. Oh, damn it! I wouldn't have wood. Oh well. Yes, I am. This is a different wood entirely. I need 239. Like I said, I just think it comes down to personal preference in the end. And there are things that I'm more tolerant of, like I can handle. God damn it, I can't handle them taking my chip, my part though. Sorry, I haven't got a compressor like Lewis does. That's mostly because I'm not in the business of yelling too much. Oh. Oh, I think I know what happened. Okay, since I put the... we all back now? Since I put the new driver, well, with the fact that the kernel now can talk directly, or OBS can talk directly to the capture card, it's picking up audio sources from the HDMI ports. Yeah, so that's what it was. It was picking up audio from the HDMI ports. I just realised there's the 244. Oh, don't know why I didn't pick on that immediately. 244 is the A1534 board. Notice it's not on the 45s though. That's curious. And guess what, I've got heaps of 45s. 45, 45, 45. Don't be a smug bastard. 45. Why have I got nothing but 45s? 45. I blame Pedro. I probably did have 244s, and he's just simply come in and stolen them. Oh, this is starting to frustrate me. Hey, Riston. Hey, Daniel. Riston, not good about the COVID. Oh, 6 Plus has them. Maybe. I don't think I've got too many 6 Pluses though. Nope, it does. Oh, it actually does, yeah. But it's a no stuff. Oh my goodness. Some jobs, finding parts can be taxing, as it were. Let's see if we can find 220 in this. 10 volt, no good. 10 volt, no good. 10 volt, no good. 10 volt, no good. There we go. C1834. Oh, it's in a good spot too. Alright, get an iPhone 6 board and let's rip that sucker off. iPhone 6. That is a board I would most definitely have a multitude of. Not in this case. It's on a bidirectional communications line, and so it probably would result in obscure behavior. It may cause some sort of data miscommunication. So it's up here somewhere maybe? Ah, lost it. Okay, but it's right next to... Okay, there it is. That's it right there. I do actually have an iPhone 6 that I need to fix up tonight too. I've lost audio on both microphone and earpiece. It's amazing how quick you can get parts off the iPhone boards when you're using MacBook level heating. Like if I'm running at 470 and 90% air, and it just makes those parts jump right off. You still around, Coda? Phil? Where are you, bug? That bug... No, you probably didn't see it. It was on the inside of the optics of the microscope. Alright, so that's fixed up, but we still actually have quite a lot to do in the sense of we've got to check the rest of the board. Sure, that's 2 pieces of corrosion we found, which means it quite possibly could be more. Oh, and we still have to put that cap back. I guess we'd best do that now, before we run amok and forget. What are you? 10 microfarad, 25 volt, 603. That's the one. I'm pretty sure we get this. I'm pretty sure I get it from the 165. This one here. 10 mic. Yep. Okay. Yeah. 165 is a wonderful source of those caps. But the nice thing is there's a good number of them. Because you're not going to run out anytime soon. It's these chunky ones. So plenty of them, combined with the fact that we've got plenty of 165s. Hey, 10-minute tech. Jeez, these things suck up the heat though. There we go. Oh, those bugs can get into the camera any which way they like. There's no stopping them. Nice shiny pads. Bugs are trying to get into my brain hole via my ears. That is a terrifying experience, by the way. Do not mock anyone who has experienced having a moth, a roach, beetle, or anything like that go into their ear canal and not come out. It is painful, terrifying. Yeah, it's a true test of sanity. Trying to, yeah, just not go mad. Hey, 555, just saw you there, sorry. Full microscope. So we're just checking around. I don't want to power this up if it's got another chunk of corrosion that could cause more damage after I've unleashed the handbrake, which was the previous short circuits. You have to brush this down. Use the air filter. Great way to ruin the air filter, brushing large scale particulate into it. Pro Engineer, what did you get in your ear? For me it was a little cockroach. And yeah. It took me several days to sort of calm back down from that. Because really, it's like, and you press so hard in that sort of gap underneath your ear to try and stop the little bugger chewing its way into your brain. Speaking of which, hello. Yeah, you got a fractured skull there, buddy. Oh, that or yeah, you've had a rough night. Man, check out those tiny little things on its nose. I don't know if you can see, it's probably a bit dark. Oh wow, Pro Engineer, you actually managed to make it to the hospital. I was lucky, very lucky, that my father had experienced the same thing a couple of years earlier. And what they do, they just said, put olive oil in the ear. And the olive oil will inhibit the creature from scratching and also make it float back up to the top. whereas water will not work. But yeah, I'm impressed you managed to get to the hospital. Okay, it's looking good. It was too dark, yeah. Unfortunately, when you get to that sort of zoom level, it's very hard to get the brightness up. I wasn't running at maximum brightness, so I could have wound it up a little more. But yeah, unfortunately, human eyes are so much better at handling dark field than what cameras are. Cameras just do not have the dynamic range. Yeah, Mike. Using the fume extractor inappropriately. I'll have to take that filter out and knock out all the excess dust later. Oh, Robert Felton? Velton? Yes, it's probably a sapsucker. We certainly have no shortage of diversity when it comes to critters around here. It is one of the upsides if you are into animals, insects, anything like that. Then we're certainly a haven of interesting. Hey Rilla, good evening to you. Now fingers crossed that this actually comes back. It's been a while since I've had these sort of boards, this particular board, come through and being that more basic failure. The last bunch that I've had, the corrosion on that cap had gone too far and subsequently ate its way through the board. And I chased that short circuit through the board and it essentially just came up through the other side and it was like, well, that's game over. These bugs are just falling over themselves to be part of this video. They're my greatest fans. Speaking of which. I don't think they want to kill you. It's just, it's not their fault that they inevitably can. They're just doing their thing and humans get in the... Come here, bug. Oh, he looks dead. Oh no, he's alive. Oh, he's ticked off now. He's like, damn it man, I was sleeping. You got me right in the middle of a good dream. Oh, oops, sorry. Oh, you're an entomologist. Cool. I'm on several Facebook groups where we, show all the various bugs and such that we find in our areas. Some of them are things you see every day. Others, you go, wow, I've not seen anything like that. I remember being utterly stunned the first time I saw a cuckoo wasp around here. It was just like, that thing is made out of Christmas tinsel. Okay, bugs. Oh, he's not feeling well, that chap. Like I said, he does look like his brains took a hit. His exoskeleton around his head was not quite intact, as it were. Okay, power in. Plug in. 5 volts. Come on, give me 20. 20 volts. 200, 700. 1.6 fan spin. Bugs flying around. Wow, these bugs are bad. Apple logo. Want one of the huntsman spiders that you have over there. They are very interesting spiders, and as much as I really don't have a problem with spiders, I will not deny that when you get a huntsman catching you off guard and the way they run, it does still send a shiver up your spine. There's just something about it. I don't know what it is. But yeah. Okay, so that's obviously working all good. So we have successfully repaired this particular machine. I will not be putting this one through the ultrasonic cleaner. I will clean this up just using, brush and fine tip various bits and pieces. I think it's a little bit extreme to put these through an ultrasonic. Pardon me, when you've only got, just a couple of dots here and there. It's just not worth putting them through that. So we have successfully fixed that one. Do a continuity test on the bug. 1,000 years of evolution trying to keep you safe. Quite possibly. Yeah. Man, that is a dirty, dirty bottom plate. Ugh. Oh, better undo the battery. Otherwise I could do something incredibly dumb. Like just throw a screwdriver on here or something like that. Forgetting that the battery was in fact connected. Okay, that's good. Oof. Shouldn't be kicking that stuff. Okay, I'm going to have a look at this iPhone 6. Try and work out what's going on. Come on, there we go. I try really hard to not let people leave their cases with me, and I still get caught out occasionally. Well, I guess the first thing I'll test is, are the ports blocked? Is it a mechanical failure or is it an electronic failure? Video Huntsman, that's actually quite a tricky job. Okay, I mean they're pretty blocked, but I wouldn't say they're 100% blocked. Noise reduction. Yeah, I mean, this is sort of what a lot of people's phones are like after a year or two. Well, first thing we'll do is clear that charge port. Cracks me up when I get phones and they've got pieces of pot jammed into their charge ports. I think what must happen is they put their little cigarette, so to speak, in their pocket, and a couple of bits of leaf fall out, and then they stick the phone in the pocket, and it just sort of goes into the crevice, and then they put the charger in and it packs it in. Hey Jaden. Steve B, no, it did not. It did set the mode in terms of the resolution and the frame rate correctly, but the color model it forces was not one I was compatible with. It was forcing, for some reason, it was forcing, I think it was YUV8, whereas my other cameras do 10-bit version. And yeah, so I'd get this green highlight tone going on. And in the end, I just sort of switched back to now that I've got the improved kernel set up where the OBS will talk directly to the capture card rather than through the V4L2 layer. It's doing a pretty good job, to be honest, now. As long as the cops don't knock on the door. Yeah. What's Stefan? I don't even know how to pronounce that one. Goatswinter? With his ultrasonic cleaner, he puts smaller parts in a glass container to save a majority of his solution. Oh, right, so he basically seals up the glass container, does he, with liquid in it, and then immerses that in the tank. I put my small parts into a little tea strainer. Paul S has it, the same type. But 90% of the time I'm always ultrasonicking the full-size board, so it doesn't seem to be a matter for me to... Yeah, I'm suspecting that he puts it in a jar filled with liquid, and then because your transference of the ultrasonic... That's my guess. I know some people use blue tack for this. I'm not a big fan of doing that. It hasn't really worked out for me using blue tack. I have tried it because people suggested it, and I thought, hey, give it a shot. It didn't work out for me. Some things just don't work out for certain people. It's kind of like when the way I do the SMC reballs with the IPA and nothing else really. And it basically barely even worked for me after I changed over from the quick. But I know a few other people tried the technique and didn't exactly run into a huge amount of luck. Sorry about that, Pedro. Anyway, needless to say, the blue tack didn't work for me. How do you know it's pot? Well, I lived in South Africa for long enough to get a pretty good idea of what pot generally looks like. And it has the smell. Particularly if you heat up the port, the volatile oils, the aroma does come up. Okay, I'm going to have to do this off screen, I'm sorry, for obvious reasons. Okay. Let's do a voice recording and see what comes up. Interesting. Unable to install voice memos. What the frick? Let's try that again. Continue. Hello, I would like to order a pizza with grapes, please. That recorded. I would like to order a pizza with grapes, please. It plays back on the main speaker. See if it works on the little one.
Hello, I would like to order a pizza with grapes, please.
Interesting, it's not switching.
Hello, I would...
I should leave that on the... Alright, it's not switching. And I can feel heat developing up here, so I think we've got a short circuit, and there's liquid damage up here, so I think we've got a short circuit up in the circuitry for the camera slash earpiece driver and things like that. Do I get a contact high? Yeah, this is why we wear gloves. I don't know if you would get one, but I don't really care to find out, in all honesty. Knowing about things and choosing to participate in certain things aren't always the same thing. I've got no problem with people who, choose to use that stuff. It doesn't bother me. But I personally am not bothering with it. Yeah, I'm going to guess that this is damage to the top end sensor, because it should have detected my finger there and stuff like that. Try making a call. Well, I'm going to check up there anyway as a precaution. I did put my ear next to it, my face next to it, so I would have thought that would have switched, but then again, as you say. Okay, I have never actually opened this one. And it's definitely had liquid damage in it. The marker's off. Okay, and this is how I know that I have been into this phone now. So forevermore, until the mark wears off, I will know that I have been here. It has a large ultrasonic cleaner, puts components into the open jar. Okay, right. He leaves the jar open. How large is large? The one I've got is 22 litres. That's about... Oh, crikey, what is that? 5 gallons, I suppose? 5-6 gallon? We just need Jason Bulmer to turn up now and tell me I'm doing everything wrong. Which of course will only embolden me to do it even more wrong. Hey, repair guy. I mean, Jason likes to trigger me as well. Like whenever he picks up the metal tip screwdriver to disconnect things, he knows I don't like that, and yet he persists in doing it. Not that he's ever going to listen to me anyway. Hey, Nuts and Proud. You were doing all the directing of the air-conditioned cooling system the other night, weren't you? I'm pretty sure it was you. With adamantite tea. No. New spudger doesn't work the same as the old spudger. Nah. Oh, Osis is here too. Hello. Oh yeah? What's that, eh? Interesting place for a little bit of corrosion. Bam, straight onto that. Now the question is whether the corrosion is from the speaker drive or whether it's from the flex. And it looks like it is the flex at fault. There's a great big hole in corrosion there, and a bear as well. Yeah, the best thing is just to replace that flex. Hopefully I've got a spare. It's funny, you forget to check sometimes for having sufficient spares for these older phones. I do a stock take each week and I still manage to get things wrong. If I could just put a hole in that screen, I bet you I have. I'm gonna have to use a Sharpie. Oh no, we didn't go through. Whew. And I will fix up their mesh. Okay, I'll be right back. I think. iPhone 6. I'm gonna have to likely part strip from another phone. Yeah, I do not have any iPhone 6 front flex assemblies. Okay, so it's going to be a part strip. Okay, iPhone 6 box, your time to shine. Hmm. 6S, 5, 4S, 5S. Come on. Where was my 6? Or was it the one I already took over about 10 minutes ago? Ah, right, it's the one that's already on the bench. Flexing on you? What do you mean by that? I don't see how I'm flexing. Okay. No, this is not. No, that's just boards. That's not. Where the hell have I put them? Not many places for my container of iPhone 6s to go. Oh, there it is. Damn, it was looking right at me. Oh my goodness. I am worried I'm sort of having a few issues because I'll tell you a sad little story. Now, when you look at this, the body of this ultraviolet camera, torch, at certain angles, what would you say the color of this portion here is? So, very curious to see what color people think that is versus, say, that. Oh, well, the fleck, right. Miles, yeah, got to pull out the old Richard III. Okay, so we've got bronze, By the way, your answers are going to be mostly right. It's the story I'm going to tell afterwards that's going to make you laugh. Okay, John says matte black as opposed to Jack Black. Violet, gunmetal. Alright, now we are getting crazy. Yeah, this particular portion here. Let's move by. So yeah, that shows it up well, I think. So yeah. I think I've got one flex there, so I'm happy. And once I've finished digging through this pile, which I think I have, and let us hope and pray that the one flex that I did find is actually going to work. Where did it go? Oh, this is it. Yep. Alright, well anyway, the answer is that it's sort of like a bronze, copper tone, yeah, something like that. But where the hilarious, and this is very, very faintly got a bit of that colour. This is distinctly matte black, and that's the bronzy colours only on the knurling on this. Anyway, I have had this torch for 2-3 years now, and it was only last night that I realised that this section was this bronzy copper colour. Prior to, in the last 2-3 years, I had always thought these were the same colour and that they were just black, much like one of my existing torches. And I don't understand why, whatever reason, last night my brain finally realised and understood that this was not black, that this was bronzy copper. And that actually floored me for a bit, because I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, I cannot believe I've had it that long. I have looked at this thing daylight, nightlight, and only now I can see that it is in fact not black. And I am just like, I cannot believe that. I cannot believe I went that long thinking I was wearing a white dress with gold stripes. In fact, it was blue all along. No, well, Osa's thing is, it transitioned, like, we're talking, I used it, I picked it up, and I've been looking at it in the day or whatever, yesterday, and it was black, as far as I was concerned. I then used it last night to check something, I put it down, and I went, whoa, have I got the wrong torch? Have I picked up the right torch? What's going on? I don't have two of these torches, I've only got the one. Why has this one got this bronzy copper colour on it? What the hell? And I even went to my wife and asked her, and she says, oh yeah, no, that's bronzy brown. And so basically my brain had been ignoring the fact that it was that colour. My brain overrode my eyes and told me it was all black the whole time. It was just very... It was like my brain had gaslighted me the whole time. And it was just unnerving. Well, that's what I mean. Your brain tells you, but I'm pretty sure that it's always been that color. I'll have to go back on the videos. And that's the trouble. It's always been that color, most likely. And because, see, it's uniform. That's the other trouble, is that it's entirely uniform in its color. It is not, see, I mean, it's unmistakable there. It is not like it's been in the sun and just developed it, in certain portions. This is utterly consistent. No, I'm not colorblind. I've had those tests done, thankfully. Otherwise, I probably would have electrocuted myself by now. It's just one of those weird things that when you initially grab something and you don't pay that much attention to it, as Osa just said, your brain decides, okay, that's black, and you go on with it. You don't bother to re-examine it because you've already decided that's what it is. And then I think it's just a case of at some point in the future you may just simply have a epiphany moment. Not really an epiphany moment, more like your eyeballs having an epiphany moment and finally get the message through to the brain. Say, yo, that is not the color you think it is. And you're like, oh yeah, you're right. The only thing I can think of is that because that is ultraviolet light, and because I was running around in the dark with it, when I switched back on all the lights, I think because the ultraviolet light changes your perception, well, changes the color of a lot of things in the dark. You see what their re-emission color is and stuff like that. Now, I think the brain was in that whole we're taking in new colors type mental state, and then it looked at the camera and went, hey, that's different. Same reason you don't notice your partner's new haircut. Oh man, oh yeah. That's a dangerous sort of thing to not notice. Definitely something well worth putting effort into training yourself into making sure you do notice it. I've been very lucky. I fortunately haven't run into such issues. Well, mostly because Alita's very forgiving of me. One might say you had a red pill moment. Quite possibly, yeah. Okay, so we need some 80-20 to clear up this grill. You do have much less white background now than you did before. Oh, well, certainly for the videos and stuff here, yeah. But this is while I was walking around the other part of the house. Yeah, it was as was just mentioned. I guess it was a red pill moment, a sudden readjustment of your awareness of the environment around you. Hey Jason, how's it going? How'd you go in town? Oh yeah, how'd you go with that connector? Did you have a win? I wasn't in Townsville today. It was on the weekend. I was in Townsville and I picked up that gear. Okay, so we're starting to get some breakthrough on the ear mesh now. I don't know if you guys can see any of that. Oh, Lewis Rossman's streaming. What the hell's he streaming for? He knows the rules. He knows if I'm streaming, he doesn't stream. If he's streaming, he doesn't stream. He spoke so full of compassion and heart the other day when he was talking about passing the torch to new people, and then he goes and pulls this jazz. Inconsiderate. And besides, he just told everyone he wasn't going to be available for the next few days. Can't take that man for his word. Alright, that mesh is now nicely cleaned up. That's some pretty good looking mesh there. I'm amazed that you can't see that. Let me just try and adjust the color brightness rather. You had to update the object representation flashlight in your mind namespace. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Let's see. Right, I need a dodgy mouse. Where is that dodgy mouse? there you are. Tony, it's 80-20. If I used pure IPA, it would not clear it no matter how much I try. Okay. Damn it. Yeah, just crank it up. Why not? And that fixed the white balance. Okay. Pull it out. Flashlight set case. First issue I always had was the backlight driver. Now that's easy. Yeah. Wondered why I had an issue. Now the LVD. Oh, I'm glad that worked out. It's often just getting the right trick at the right time, or just that bit of information to know that you're heading down the right path. That helps so much. Lewis was talking about Rick Astley. Okay, did Lewis get trolled? Did someone? Yeah, someone must have done him in. Did Elon Musk make the car start playing Rick Astley? Pure IPA leaves more white on plastics. Oh yeah. That's actually one of the reasons why I don't finish with a IPA wash, a pure IPA wash on the motherboards, the logic boards, because of that. That leaves some sort of whiteness there. I think it's actually whatever they use to cut the alcohol with. Oh yeah, but they're doing this in an industrial process. They're probably not distilling it. It's most of the time IPA or ethanol is probably more of a byproduct of whatever they're actually doing. There's a bit of gunk in that one. You do SMC all day? No, yeah, it is funny how you have some things that you can do blind almost, and then other things just leave you stumped. Oh man, they mashed that corner up something fierce. That's no good. Let's see if we can fix that up. Never gonna give you up. Yep, never gonna sing again. Where the hell are my G-tools? Someone's nicked my G-tools. Obviously somebody's stolen them. Not like I would have misplaced them. Oh well. Can't find my G-tools. Yeah, I was thinking, that's what I'm thinking. It depends on, the process that was used to manufacture the IPA or the ethanol. Because more than likely, if you say take sugar ethanol or something like that, and then distill it, you probably won't get that white residual effect. Alright, this battery actually needs replacing, but I do not have stock. It should maybe arrive tomorrow, but in the interim we're going to put it back together. I've got a few people waiting on iPhone 6 batteries. But unfortunately, the supply just kind of vanished on me, and I've been waiting for the restocking, which did happen last Friday, but it hasn't yet arrived. The cats. I was going to say it might actually be the boggart in the house. I haven't been leaving out honey and crackers for it. So it's probably the boggart taking things. Oh, Tony, I don't think it was YouTube strike I was worried about. I was thinking more audience strike. It's kind of like Zach Brannigan driving everybody out of the floating restaurant orbiting the planet with his Leela song. What's sad is I can actually do a pretty good imitation of that song. And it drives people away. Anyway, yep. What is a boggart? It's a sort of a fantasy realm fairy world creature. It's a house elf that gets cantankerous because you didn't leave it. A house brownie, I think, that gets cantankerous because you didn't leave it suitable gifts. Yeah, I've just noticed the screen actually, the chassis folds underneath the screen, so oh well, it's what they've been living with. Just waiting for it to boot so I can test it. Dum, dum, doo, 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 doo. Okay. Oh geez, all the messages coming in. Oh wow, how many messages we got? 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're gonna. I don't know. I don't know any other number to do testing on this, but yeah, I'll try this. Okay, it's it. Yep, that works. Very loud. Just burnt my ears off. Okay, that now works. The sensor works. So I'm pretty sure it's fixed. So that was no audio IC fault. It looks like the audio C is fixed. They've got the address completely wrong in both cases. It looks like the audio C is fixed. Trash. Okay. Trash. Okay. All done. Great. They'll be happy, but like I said, I might see if they can leave it with me for another day or two. Hopefully only just the one day, and I can get that replacement, what do you call it, battery in there, because it really does need it. I think it'll be a bit of a disservice not to get it done for them now. Because yeah, they'll only come back in a couple of weeks or a month with the battery having expanded, pushed out something, and then for all you know, water might have got in because of that. And I mean, there's obviously a chance that water's going to get in it right now because of the way that screen isn't matching up. Alright, that's okay. We're going to do an SMC. And the reason why we're going to do an SMC is because two reasons. I want to try the theory of fixing these boards that have that boot problem. You know, where they run for 10 seconds and shut down. And the 165s, because I've had numerous 165s that are good, like in terms of good performance. Unfortunately, this one's a 1.64, so it's not the greatest. I've already replaced the SMC on this one. Does that mean this one's fixed? Guess we'll find out. Let's see. Okay, he has to put in his pickle in his jar first. Oh, sorry, in the cage basket. Then the pickle jar, and the jar is about... Right, yeah, okay. Yeah. And so he's just using plain water, I'm guessing, for the actual transfer medium. And the cleaning solution itself is in the jar. So, and yeah, that is an excellent way of saving a tremendous amount of money in terms of the stuff. Yeah, because it's like $60 for me to fill the tank up each time. It's almost as bad as the car. But fortunately, each tank fill will last me about a month. Oh, that's 2012. Oh, here we go again with this crap. Me looking for an 821 1722 flex. There we go. Got it. Fortunately, with these people, with that phone, they live out on a property and they've got multiple phones. So yeah, they want it. Obviously, will want it back, but they do also, because they live out rural, they are somewhat used to the realities of distance, and just being able to bring it to me at the same day for them is actually quite an improvement. This one's fixed. I must have fixed this one. You gonna green blink? Come on, green blink. Green blink. Yeah, good boy. I drive a Ford Falcon BA, which is almost 20 years old now. I would like to change to a new car, but it's just completely unrealistic. I, for one, would actually quite enjoy having something like a Tesla 3 Series, because most of my driving is around town. I have a house with plenty of, parking space, so I can easily set up a charge station, and also we have a tremendous amount of roof space, so we can have a tremendous amount of solar, which means then we can basically charge the car off the solar directly. Because the amount of distance that we drive each day very easily will be covered by whatever we can generate in the solar. We could easily produce 40 kilowatt hour a day here. Easily. And Townsville's close enough that I can get to there. Okay, I might actually change that crystal cap. Yeah, it is a crystal cap. So yeah, EV would be a sensible thing for me to have out here. Yeah, definitely change that crystal cap. Yeah, that's right, Miles. Yep. That was almost a year ago now. Because I was very wild and woolly in the face. That was when I was dealing with Dad. Or I should rather, I wasn't really dealing with, it was the family. And so yeah, that's how I couldn't be bothered shaving at that time. And it was great when the car decided to break down in the shopping centre. But the car has a new problem now that's been plaguing us for about the last year, and that is that the gear tumbler is collapsing. Or actually, no, the gear tumbler isn't collapsing. What it is the plate on the back of it that makes the connection for the starter motor to go. That is degrading. Basically, what's happening is they use a 2-ball bearing system runner on the back, and instead of using some hardened metal, they've just got some soft junk on fiberglass board, and so after quite a number of cycles, it just simply chews its way through that metal track. The trouble is, the shops around here, they don't know that you can just undo the assembly, take that circuit board, solder down a new track, like, just solder down like a bit of copper or anything really, and reassemble it, and then you're good to go for another 5 years at least. Because otherwise it's like $400 or so at least. Let's see, after a repair and testing on the Chipmunk, you don't also test the backlight with the multimeter. I should, but usually what I do is I actually just plug it straight into a test chassis. If I'm happy with it booting, then that's when I just go to the test chassis and test everything, like Wi-Fi, camera, ports, keyboard, trackpad. So rather than do an individual volt test, just easier to sort of go to the next extreme and test everything you can in one shot. There's a messed up pad there. Don't blame the tools. Was I blaming tools? 3D printer, new plate and PLA. The thing is, the fiberglass backing of it, it's just a disc. It's fine. You just need to basically replace the copper track that they have where the ball bearings run with another piece of metal. That's it. Alright, so that one seems to be going alright. So I will give that a bit more of a test in an actual chassis, but later. Because I want to find one that's dead. Come on, man. Okay, this looks promising because I say dead PCH, but I've also got Y faulty. Okay, so I suspect this is one of those. And is it an exotic one? Can't read from that distance. Damn it. Again, it looks like SMC has been replaced. So maybe it's actually a couple of possible faults that cause the same symptom. Because definitely the last couple of weeks I have been encountering these, which I'm thinking, oh, they're dead, so I don't even bother. But then on further messing around, I find that they do come to life if I change the SMC. So I don't know whether we're developing a new type of fault or I'm unsure. Let's just put it like that. I'm very anti-voltage. Yes, I am. Yeah. Ooh, that was... Okay, that's definitely not good. Maybe this one really is a dead PCH. Maybe this is one of the ones that the 3V42 line is... 3V42 RTC line is cactus. Well, I'm going to give it a go, see what the voltage on that line is. Is it 3437? I thought it was the 165. No, this is the 165. Yeah. You maybe question my what I was doing. How dare you? Voltage. Come on. Come on, MagSafe. Let's do what you want to do. Okay, that's a pretty steady 3 volts there. But we've got no... Yeah, something's shutting it down pretty quickly too. So we'll flip it over and see what our 342 is and what our PV bus is. Okay, power is still being applied. PV bus, I've been probing it by the looks of it. 8.6, so technically SMC's alive. 343, so we must be missing PM Sleep S4L, I would guess. Interesting though that it does actually try to start up. Back on the S21, the new one won't connect to Telsa. What's your new one? Okay. Oh goddamn! I've got to change this. The default with Flexboard View for search is F, and quite frankly, that's a load of bogus. So I'm going to use slash. Much better. What's also bogus is the fact that I have to restart and load that again. What? Why you no work? Who programmed this crap? Search. Oh, the control, right. Well, whoops, my bad. Problem exists between keyboard and computer. Damn it. Let's see. What am I after? Oh yeah, I'm after PM Sleep S4L. And usually, yeah, pick it up off here. There we go. I'm gonna say it's missing. It certainly is. Well, let's see. It's supposed to be 0.4 in diode mode. 0.45. It's not entirely out of the ordinary, so I'd say that's fine. Okay. Well, I probably did do this before, but I'm going to do it again. And that is solutions missing. Okay, we already checked that one. So basically, this set of 4 resistors here, you basically want to see the voltage on. And if you don't, then you've probably got troubles. I'm probably going to go through all this only to reaffirm that I do indeed have a dead PCH. Hey, Omega 33. Anyone notice cold laptop flex? Oh yes, well, that's to be expected, I suppose. Just the nature of cold stuff, isn't it? Unfortunately. Okay, so what have we got? 3-3, 3-2, 3-0. Yeah, it's quite a dive actually on that one. 3-0, 3-3. So why have we got 3-0 on that third one there? PCH intruder low. That should be 0.79. Yeah, that seems right. So obviously intruder does draw a little bit of current there for some reason and causes that slight voltage drop. Alright, so we go to the next. Anyway, we don't have that one there. PCH and development? No. Wow, my software is actually being a narc. What have I done to this? Do I need to recompile? Worst advertisement ever. Tony, I do agree. It is actually a very good idea, and I should certainly be doing it. But it's the trouble is, it's one of those things that you never seem to get around. Wow, I've clearly buggered the program somehow. This is a development version, by the way. This is not one that's available for anyone. And it seems like I have. Alright, I think I know what's going on, and I think it's because I updated the core graphics interface library for this, and it's not that there's a problem with the new library per se, but rather I was probably exploiting the behavior of the old one in a how could you say, an inappropriate way. And subsequently, in the new version, that inappropriate way doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, because it seems like if I click it off, then it seems to be okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that up. Bugger. Okay, Jason, catch you later. Let's see, Daniel, you got a 165 missing 5 ESR. That usually could be a bad daughter board or a bad flex, the flat flex, the 8211722. Because that PP5ES4 S3, yeah, that's dealing with usually with the daughter board, and often that doesn't appear because it thinks you've got a fake charger. If you've got a genuine board, it should not be a problem. A genuine charger brick, a genuine MagSafe 2 charger brick, not a 1 to 2 adapter. This is chewing up half a watt somewhere. I'm kind of curious to see what the infrared's going to show up. It's been warming up a while now. Hey Thomas, you haven't missed too much. We did fix the 1990, so that was good at least. Okay, schematics. Okay, let's see what's getting warm. Okay, so you're getting warm. You're the ISL, aren't you? Yep. Yeah. So why would the ISL be getting warm though? Is it because we are getting proper 12.6? Is there something else? It looks sometimes the SMC. So just block out that reflection. There is a little bit of warmth in the SMC that I can see. And this is kind of like when you watch doctors looking at x-rays and you kind of go, I have no idea what they're even looking at. But around about just over here, this part, it does seem to have a little bit of extra warmth. So I'm going to swap the SMC on this just for the fun of it. Okay. But Daniel, yeah, the only time I've ever been missing that rail is when for some reason the board did not think that it was talking to a genuine MagSafe. So it actually could also be that connector block. That connector block there, I would check all the pins to make sure you don't have any loose ones. Because if you have any loose ones in the right place, then that could cause that issue. Alright, SMC time. And yeah, I mean, like, go along with a pick or something like that. And just probe each pin, see if it wiggles. I'm not sure if this has been replaced or not. Okay. No, maybe it's just been reflowed. We had much experience with 2179, 2019A, 2251, 2020 Pro. Just got a message from a friend of mine. Someone offered him both of them for 400. It depends on what they're dying from. If they've got the T2 chip on them, it's probably not a good idea. See how you go, Daniel. Like I said, no guarantees, but I hope you do have some success there. Because I know that rail is a very obscure rail. Yes, Andrew, I'm going to try the new attachment, see if I can do an SMC reball using it somehow. I'm not exactly sure what technique I'm going to use. I think the first biggest problem I'm going to have is the fact that it will not sit flat. Honestly, I'm thinking what I should do is get myself a desktop a CNC machine, take a small billet of brass, or bronze, whatever it is, and then essentially create one specifically for an SMC. I mean, all you'd have to do is cut out that portion from the block and you're done. Oh well, and drill a hole in for the soldering iron attachment. But that would be it. The only trouble is I'm not too sure how hard or easy it is to mill. I know one's easier than the other, I just can never remember which one's which. Liquid damage, yeah. I would, yeah, 400 is a nice tempting price. If the screens are in good condition, then you know, you're not going to lose money, you could sell them off. But, oh man, it's such a gamble. I generally don't like buying too many machines without getting to test them. Unless there's something like a 1466 and you can usually tell pretty easy what's going on, usually. I've had some times where I've been severely caught out and like, damn, you guys got me good there. Just never buy from Pedro. Okay. He will scam the daylights out of you. And then he's not even shy about it. He'll tell everyone that he did it. What about a small hot plate? Well, that's what I'm talking about. Just give me a chance with this. Finish up that. I also need a donor though for this. Let's see. I mean, I like their idea of using the iron tip as the heating element because you can control the temperature very nicely on those. What are you? Oh, you're a 165, but you've got icky damage on you. Let's see if I've got another 165 with an SMC that's actually destroyed. Looks like I've already taken the SMC from the caploded PCH version. Okay, this board has got all manner of junk on it. It's a 165. I'm gonna guess maybe this was one of the... I mean, look at this. I went wild on this one. PCH is intact. Oh, right, no, wait, this is dead CPU. Yeah. See, I've got that. The inductor's missing. We have a look at the resistance on that. Yeah, Pedro enjoys basking in it. He'll even post videos just to prove it that I mocked him. 0.21, that's a very, very upset CPU, and I know we have actually put voltage through it to see when it lights up, and it is the CPU. So we're going to take the SMC from this and put it on that one. I need to make a sandbag version of this thing. Yeah, where you just get like a calico bag or something like that and you fill it with lead shot. I need to do that to make one of something half this weight would actually be about right. Pedro has to make a profit for the living. I don't know. I think he gets all his profits from the devil. Pedro is going to get reincarnated as a Soul Reaper riding around on a Norton motorbike. Travis, I've seen those 3-in-1 units, basically a CNC bed with various head attachments. Oh, yes, sweetie? Oh, Mo! You just having a sticky Vic. Everything else going okay out there? That's good. Just trying to manage to fix one of the machines that normally blow up and take everything with them. I actually managed to get that done, so it was like, thank goodness, you know. Yeah, we finally have some money. We don't have to live off wheat anymore. Grubs. Buy yourself. Thanks, sweetie. Get one of those custom circuit board weights. No, I just use, like I said, just a calico bag with some lead shot, and it does the trick just nicely. Okay, extraction time. Did you see a link, an answer I left you? Nope. Steve, I don't see much of your stuff, do I? Steve. Honestly, the best way to get my attention is to email me a lot of the time. Ah, here we go. He has the same solution in his USB cleaner as well as the jar. Oh, okay. Alright then. Like I said, in my case, yeah, I've got to fit the entire boards in there, so I'm not really winning other way. But for now, I use the little tea strainer. But yeah, I like the idea of the jar for like if it's something between what the tea strainer can take versus something that I can actually reliably retrieve from the oversized ultrasonic cleaner. Because yeah, it's very easy to have things drop down below the basket and then you're like, damn it. It's not so bad when the solution is still in pretty good condition, but when the solution starts to get a bit of age on it and a bit of gunk in it, it's very hard to find things until you actually drain the tank. Get a 3D printer. I mean, I may yet, but I'd sooner get the CNC job, because more of what I want to do is with materials that I don't want deteriorating when they get hot. And then once I've got a CNC machine, I can make my own 3D printer. No, I'm just kidding, I'll buy one. But yeah, CNC machine's been on my list for a long time. Honestly, the big problem I've got right now is I just simply don't have the room for it. If someone sent me one, I'd be like, well, that's great, but I don't have the room for it, so you're not going to be seeing anything happening with it for quite a while. Okay. So like if I wanted to make jigs for SMCs, I kind of have to cut them out of this Synrock or bronze or whatever. You could use some sort of glass serving dish. Well, jars would work great. I mean, as you said, the jar solution, that'd be fine. That's why you start with small ones. Ceramic printer, yeah, okay. If you can do that, ceramic printer, you may well have my attention. I suppose it's just extruded clay, I suppose. Now the only trouble with the things like extruded clay is that your coefficient of shrinkage between what you extrude and what you end up with when it dries is a bit of a problem. Because about 15 years ago I looked into making various jigs for holding things, and I was using professional molding clay and things like that. It's synthetic clay. And even though it actually didn't have that much of a shrinkage factor, it was still more than enough to cause too much drama for me. Check out the 3018. Simple upgrade for AI 3018. Yeah, I think I was looking for one of those, but when that's when COVID came along, and no one ever restocked them. So if you can tell me, do you want to send me a link to that, like email? That would be awesome, because that's about the size I'm looking for, because it'd be perfect for doing this sort of thing, and I'll put it up on a shelf or something like that. Yeah, so if you can email me a link to one, I would definitely be interested. There was like a 40-20 or a 50-25 that I was looking at as well, and again they just disappeared before I could get my hands on. And every time I would finally convince myself, you know what, just get the large one, you'll just have to find a way of holding it, in the workshop. When I get to buy it, they would be like, oh yeah, sorry, we're out of stock now. And I'd be like, damn it. There is that little one that, unfortunately they run off DC motors, and that really doesn't appeal to me. Like they're just using normal brushed can motors rather than a 3-phase brushless motor. And I suppose it works, but it would have been nice if they were brushless instead for the the actual route bit. Especially considering how cheap brushless motors are now. Yeah, I'm going to use the heater block, but first I need to actually prep all of the... Basically what I'm going to do, the tricky bit's going to be transferring. So I'm going to set it up so all of the balls are in place and everything like that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, no, you're a double. Get out of here. Yep. Got yours from Banggood. Half kilowatt AC spindle upgrade for... Oh, okay, so you went for the AC spindle, yeah. Yeah, Steve, I've seen them doing that with the 3D site printing. It gets tempting looking at those things. Like, you think, oh yeah, cool, you know, it'd be a cheap way to make house. But I think the trouble is then doing the exterior wall is often, in many ways, the easiest part of the whole damn process. It's all the fittings, the finishing, just all those bits that end up costing you the fortune when it comes to construction of houses. But yeah, I mean, if it drops off a fair decent amount of the price, then yeah, that's great too. Okay, I am looking to see... Where did I put my stencil? I'm trying to be a responsible person and putting things into my little trays now. So there's going to be an elevated period of frustration for me. So it's not in the tray. I only just cleaned it today too. Where are you? Aha, there you are. Oh, that's what I was going to... so this is the problem if I want to do the transfer to the block. The problem is that I need to get flux onto this before I put the balls on. But getting the balls on, the big part of the method that I use is all about the fact that I use the IPA. So it's got the extremely low viscosity and it just floods through. If I put flux down there, I'm going to lose that ability, I think. I'm not worried about the IPA stealing too much of the flux, in all honesty. So we're going to probably try two things here. The first one, I'm going to try to put a thin layer of flux down and then put the balls in and see if that works. The other option is I can put the balls on and just put a great big blob of flux in the middle here and then let it basically wick out. I'm kind of thinking the wick out method might work better. Yeah, it's a bit of a trick. I'm not sure which way to go. Hello, Bug. Damn it, Bug, you made me... Okay, well, I'm going to go with... We'll do our usual process, where we drop on the IPA, and then we, roll them all into place. And then when that's done, I'll dry it, and then I'll put a blob of flux in the middle. Because at least this phase, I'm very fine with. I don't know how I'm going to get this out, to be honest. Okay, let's just dry it off. Because I can put a heap of heat onto this while it's got IPA. It's when I move over to flux that all the hell breaks loose. Okay, so we're just going to leave it like that. I'm going to put a little... This is not going to work, I think. Yes, it is very much experimenting time, Smeller. And we may well get it wrong several times, but you know, that's why we do it. If you're not willing to get it wrong several times, then yeah, you probably shouldn't be in the industry. Yeah, okay, definitely going to be a problem trying to get this out without spilling everything, but we'll see. How about putting the flux down the edge of the template, closer to where you are driving the iron from? Well, we'll see how it sits and fits. First thing I could do is actually displace the SMC from here and place it into the heater. So I've got my specially crafted iPhone 7 home button extractor. The only trouble is it is spring steel of some description, so it could result in... Too late, it's ruined. I can already see that it's spilled. Maybe I should have been applying pressure. Funnily enough, it's actually... It looks like it's recaptured them. That has actually recaptured them all in the right place. Oh well, that'll do. That's kind of funny. Okay, power on. I think maybe to make this work a bit easier, I need to trim the edges of the stencil off. So we end up with a much thinner looking stencil. Sorry, with a much smaller border. I have a feeling it might not be enough flux to wick, so I might rain some down from the top. I mean, quite frankly, this is... The other problem is when you're doing this sort of thing is you're thinking, well, my old method wasn't perfect, but at least it worked. I think a bit of patience is required here. It's taken a while. I think if I can make a solid block like this with a cutout just for the SMCs, then yeah, we can do it really easy. Because I would just simply do the IPA plus placement on the block. You're still going? You're gone to sleep? What? Oh, no wonder it's gone to sleep. I still had this iron in the handle. I was wondering why it was taking so long. Alright. Now it should heat up again nicely. There we go. Sorry about that. This is basically, it's just a metal block, and it's being heated up by the soldering iron. And we're looking at this as a way to control the reball reflow process a little more than the hot air that I was using, because of, maybe I will be fine again with the hot air, but I know a lot of other people had issues, difficulty with stopping them from popping out before. I gotta admit that this is slower than I really anticipated. But is this thing even getting hot? Hello? Oh yeah, I can see him starting to jiggle now. They're doing the jiggly wiggly. I think I just saw a pop then though. Okay, I guess I'll turn that off. There's a couple there that haven't jumped in yet. Oh, yeah, that's good. Actually, there's more than a couple that haven't jumped in. Maybe I'll keep the heat on a bit more, sorry. Well, there's this one here. Ah, touch the stencil. That one there's been very reluctant. Okay, turn off. I don't want it heating too much more. Well, it does look like it has worked. I think the greater problem is, first you want to find a way to reliably... there's one ball there. Yeah, the first is you want to be able to have a way of loading up the stencil with the balls and have it being done in the heater block. It's still smoking, so I'm gonna... Yeah, it should be cooling down soon. But yeah, I mean, I think with a CNC machine I could make something that would allow the process of reballing SMCs to be quite easy. And I think putting a blob of flux in the middle does work, but it does look like you're definitely going to have to rain it down from above, or just simply get something that's very low viscosity. Yeah, Andrew, that is the other issue, is like, is it too much heat for too long? Because when you think about the hot air is a lower temperature. I suppose I can set the quick to use a lower temperature. Not the quick, the Hako. Yeah, that's still molten. So that is definitely going to be a problem, is the period of time in which it remains molten. They are starting to cool off now. You can see a few of them snapping back to solid. Agreed, Miles. Yeah, liquid flux would be better. Yeah, you can see them starting to cool off a lot quicker now. Let's crank up the extractor. I think they're about all done. Let's see how we go when we try to separate them. I mean, personally, I think I'm going to be fine with the old method that I used. It looks pretty good. I'm going to hit it with the hot air. Just so that if there are any that haven't actually sat down properly, they will now. I think for something like this, if I was going to be doing this on a more regular basis, whatever, I would probably get a cheap soldering station, just like one of the $50 things, and dedicate it for the purpose of managing these sort of things. Rather than having to use my proper hacker like this. I mean, the tip that I'm using, which is it's a T12KN type tip. I basically never use that tip. So I'm not really worried about that side of it. It's more that I have to switch out my standard tip that I use for this particular handle. And I mean, that's, again, it's not a massive issue, but I'm just trying to think of all the little things that add to the disruption of your day. But I mean, I think I can conjure up some sort of contraption that will make that process a lot easier. But of course the question is, will anybody really care? I don't really care, I guess. Will it make my life sufficiently better? That's another question. Then I suppose you can just say, well, you're doing it for the fun of it. You're doing it for the pleasure. How much damage has been done to the chip? Not sure. That's the other thing, is that with the hot air, you can usually take it away pretty quick. But in saying that, because I use the synthetic rock, that synthetic rock does hold a lot of heat, which is part of the way it works as well when I do the reflows. I wish they would invent a Atom or a Quick that had rotary dials instead of frickin' up-down buttons. Is it so hard to do a rotary encoder for the inputs? I do have a spare quick hot air station because obviously, but I think the key thing is I need to get the CNC workstation. and a very well soundproof room or something, because those things are nasty. And the noise they make is just terrible. Oh yeah, that was a very long drag shift. So, okay, now it's swimming again. Yep. Is that new Metasphere? Yes, it is. This is my... let me just move that away. This is the one that I ground down myself. I'll show you the source that it came from. This is basically what it starts at. I started grinding on this one as well, but basically that's the profile it starts with, this one here, and that's the thickness, and then I tapered it down, and it does work on the iPhones. The only trouble is this metal is not as springy as the previous one. So even though the previous one is just what do they call it? Sintered metal, and these are sintered metal as well. For some reason, the other one it was springier, whereas yeah, this isn't quite so much. It bends more than it springs, but it does have the sufficiently fine edge now that it works on the iPhones. Yeah, when it comes to things like setting temperatures and airflows and all that, having a rotary encoder is a far more sensible option. Okay, there's some junk in front of those there, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, up-down buttons, particularly when they're too slow initially, but they're too fast once they get rolling, is a real pain. Yeah, the 857 does. So if they could do the 857 with memory, well basically yeah, do what they've done with the 857, but do it on the bigger machines. I have contemplated modifying the front end and adding it, but I'm not rich enough and I have too many responsibilities to spend a couple of weeks stuffing around with that. It would be fun, I would enjoy it. I'd probably get frustrated because trying to work out how the circuit works is going to be a nightmare in its own right. Okay, let's see how we go with this. Nope, same shit. So the ISL's up to its crap again. Yeah, let's replace the ISL. This is blind repair. I do not recommend this technique. It's got some junk around it, so it might be it. Yeah, do not just blindly replace parts if you have a real customer job or whatever. Okay, that's not true. If the customer desperately needs it fixed, and you're thinking, you know what, this is going to be a Hail Mary, then yeah, sure, whatever. I guess what I'm saying is, don't rely on it as a business model. Yeah, that actually felt funny. When that came up, that didn't feel right. And it feels like, is that a piece of junk? There was a little piece of something jammed in under there. I don't know what that is. It's like a piece of glass or something. But that was located just under here. And so it may have been holding the chip upright. Yeah, up off the board. I don't know how that would have happened, but it did. Hey, Pecos Jack. Heat and quench. I gotta wonder, Steve Co, does that work with sintered metal? I guess there's one way to find out. No, I just wasn't sure whether heat and quench would work with sintered metal. Which is why another nice thing I would like to have is a forge. And then I can take a piece of round bar and make my own spudgers from round bar. Ah no, crikey. Okay, we can tell the difference. One's covered in flux and the other is not. We should probably actually already redo those pads. Unless your shop name is Dr. Boone. Itsy bitsy tiny weetsy little bit on there. Yep, that'll do. You don't need a lot of solder in that middle pad. I mean, obviously you need enough, but not too much. How about an old hacksaw blade? The trouble with the hacksaw blade is that it's flat all the way through, so you would still have to reforge that to get the round handle. That's why I'd rather start with round bar and forge out the ends. Yeah, I do genuinely wonder whether that little piece of whatever it was, glass or something, was the culprit. Okay, that has not reflowed properly. I don't know why I thought it had. Come back here. Oh, no wonder I was running at the SMC reflow temperature. You need to be a little more abusive with this chip. Not that abusive. No, I've effed it now. I made a right mess of that. It went from being a pretty good reflow to a dreadful one. Still not 100% certain about it. Kind of feels like it's offset in the wrong way, but we'll have a look. Good thing this is just a rando board for me. Orientation correct? I'm fairly sure it is. Pin 1 to the top right. Yep, pin 1, top right. Okie doke, let's see, here we go. Nope. Same crap. It's interesting, it has a spike there. It goes up to 400 for a moment. Okay. We'll bring out the infrared again and see if we can catch where it's spiking. Because it seems like once it's done with the spike, that's it, it's over. It's not going to do it again. The downside I've got here is that this whole bench is very warm now, so we're going to have to be fighting against that. But hopefully my software can do it. Oof, everything's so hot. Okay. Yeah, everything's ridiculously hot. So here we go. Phew, get out of my face, bug. Let's turn her off. I don't like that. It focuses on here momentarily, disturbingly. I don't think it lasts long enough even for the AOE test. Put my hand there. Everything's just too hot. It's definitely jumping here as soon as I put on the power. Chips in the upper left, you're talking about up here? I don't know if freeze spray is going to help much. Because freeze spray, yeah, sure it gets cold, but it doesn't really have a lot of thermal mass, so to speak. So I use up half my can. Okay, well, let's try that again, shall we? Why does the flippin'... Okay, it's not heating up there. There, it just jumped up then, so I've got to wait about 10 seconds. Okay, it looks like it does 2 pulses, but it's not the PC Edge doing it. I think now the problem is still that everything is... It's not that... Whatever's getting hot doesn't seem to be coming through. Oh, this chip here, yeah, that's the camera chip. That's what it is. Yeah, it's not the camera chip that's actually faulty. It's just that it goes through its boot cycle, and it has a momentary pickup. It's a bit of a red herring, as it were. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's what the momentary jump is. Yeah. Interesting that it actually affects that section there as well. Yeah, I remember now that these camera chips, they do that. And so you think, oh, I've got to, yeah, so it pops up, definitely, yeah. Okay, no, this is definitely one of the dead boards, or at least it seems to be. We'll have another look over it. Maybe I should ultrasonic it and see what happens, but I think it's a dead one. But that's caught me out plenty in the past, and I've even done things like replace the camera chip, replace the controller for all sorts of things, and it's not actually that. It's just that it happens to come up, gets powered up before some other parts, and so it just sort of, just because it stuck its head out of the burrow first, it gets victimized. Could you put a bag of free? You probably could, but I'd be better off. Yeah, there's a bit too much moisture on that bag of peas. Alright, let's have another look over the board, just in case there's something I've missed through observation. Check that ISL. Make sure the current sensors, temperature, not temperature, current sense resistances are right. Especially with the weather we've got. Okay, so 20 is good. Looks like I've been through it before. 3 is good. I mean, agreeably, it doesn't take us all the way. Okay, so so we don't get yelled at from some people. Actually, do it on the chip. 20, yep. There are a few occasions where the trace can be cracked. Crap, and I just ruined the chip. Smushed it. And I was testing the wrong two anyway. Damn it. Yeah, so 311, that's fine too. You could do IPA, but again, if there's moisture in the air, the IPA is going to pull it out of the air. So you're still going to end up the same sort of situation. You basically need a low humidity room if you're going to go through for some sort of cooling solution like that. And the other trouble is, you think, okay, well that's fine, just put it in a bag, and when it's cool, take it out of the bag. But as soon as you do that, the condensation will just pop up all over the board, which is exactly why you should not put your hard drive in the freezer and then bring it out to try and revive it, because you get this instantaneous, well not instantaneous, but you get the condensation appearing on the platters, and then with the way the heads are these days, it comes flying around and crashes into a droplet of water and kills your drive. It looks like this is the one that I've done the RAM replacement. It looks like there was edge material around there, and so I have actually replaced the camera chip on this one too. I think what really bugged me about this one is looking at boards that it was reminding me of what I was doing, is that there was a very small amount of corrosion right here, and I thought, oh well, you know, this shouldn't be too much of an issue. And yet, in spite of that, even though this is where you would expect the issue to be, I have not been able to solve it. Like, I replaced that, I'm pretty sure I replaced all of these parts in a desperate attempt to try and revive this board. And it's been ultrasonic a couple of times probably. But yeah, it's extremely frustrating when you can't work out why something's got. And like I said, we're missing PM Sleep S4L, which is unfortunately one of those difficult to resolve issues because there are many possible reasons for it. And there's no real differentiating test that you can use to determine what it is that's causing it. Oh, for stiction, no. People now just drop their hard drives to fix stiction. They're like, oh, the head's stuck on the planet. Okay, boink, drop it. Hey, look, it's spinning again. And like, yeah, you've just converted your data to dust there, but sure. And the things people will do. I mean, I get it. They're desperate for a solution. This is another 1.88. Yeah, they want their data back, but they don't have the thousands of dollars potentially to use a recovery service. Especially too that you usually have to put down $500-600 at a recovery service. Is that cap okay? And that's non-refundable. And that's a pretty big gamble for a non-refundable, probably not going to be solved situation. RTC VCC has already been checked. I've already gone through. I did Ambrose anyway. I've already gone through the PM Sleep S4L tests and things like that with the sequence. Not tonight, but I know I have in the past. And so I'm now just looking for something else. By the way, how's the imagery sort of appearing, like as I'm scanning across the board? I'm curious whether it's showing up okay or whether it's blurry. There's a little bit of corrosion there, but not seemingly enough to be problematic. There's a bit of a shake there, but that's me. Why don't people take backups? Because it's a human. Because they rely on humans to do it. If you have to rely on yourself to make backups, then you're not going to make backups. Backups must be done by something that you know this anyway. They have to be done by something that doesn't involve human interaction. About the only human interaction part that you can possibly risk is the job of a courier to come and pick up your weekly tapes. I'm just going to test the I2C lines, see what they're doing. Bit of a blue tint. That's interesting because it doesn't really show up at this side at all. Yeah, I think the sensation of a blue tint might be driven a lot by the gold color. But yeah. Backups are done tomorrow and tomorrow never comes. Uh-huh. Exactly. Slightly dark. Yeah. I'm wondering whether it's time for me to get a new lamp. Oh wait, I can crank this up, I just realised. There we go. Is that a bit better? There's a moth in my face. It's certainly substantially brighter for me than it is for you. Filters, effect. If I try and push the brightness up, it just does the washout effect. Get Pantone cards and check. Oh, yeah. I'm just looking at my own video. I think I might have overblown it. What's frustrating is that even though I'm throwing a bunch of processing power at this, I can still see that it has maybe half a second. Oh yeah, that's way overblown. Yeah, just waiting to see when it's finished. I still have like half a second. Just get rid of that because that's no good. Half a second of blockiness before it shuts back down, actually becomes high quality again. How does the HDR do if you correct the brightness? I'm not sure. Shut up, Gecko. No one wants to hear your joke. But yeah, I might have to get some Pantone cards. Okay. Actually, I don't even have HDR on. Oh, sweet mercy. That's full HDR. A little bit too much, guys. A little bit too much. Maybe like that. But the gold's starting to push out a bit aggressively there. The trouble is I've got to wait about 30 seconds for me to see my own changes. See what YouTube thinks of them. Come on. Oh, finally. Now I'm getting to see my... Okay, go on. Push it. Push it. Make me squeal. Ah. That's crazy. Yeah, these monitors are way out of whack. Yeah, exactly. I'm blind, yeah. Even 4... 3 is tolerable. I think 2 is probably about the most I want to push it. White balance as always keeps jumping out. Oh no. That's better. Yeah, I prefer that. I gotta admit, the blue and gold does make me think of King Tutankhamun's colouring. Well, I did have it turned off. But it's interesting, in OBS it shows up very strongly, but in YouTube it does not. Oh well. What is the time? Shh. like 2 o'clock in the morning and I've still got a Windows machine I've got to migrate junk with. Bloody Windows machines. Honestly, migrating customers is painful. When someone accidentally put all their stuff on a Microsoft account sort of thing, you know, but it wasn't their account, it was whoever owned the machine before them, and they just continued to use that login, and now they realize, oh, you know, can't have that. But the trouble is that it's all so intertwined now, and you just, yeah, trying to separate it all out so that you can set it up on a new one, and it's never the same. And then they're like, "Oh, it's not the same how it was. Can I have it just how it was before?" And you're like, "You can't. It wasn't even your account. You know, you can't keep just hijacking on that other person. It was the other person's fault. Agreed, but this is the legacy of what's going to happen." Hey, Toby. Might be able to set OBS to convert the color space, but it's definitely... Oh, yeah, okay, well, I think we'll pass on that. There were enough dramas with color spacing. Especially when I'm doing it, in effect, blind. No, stuff this. Yep. No, stuff that. We tried. But we got to play around with the new DB DACA for the SMC rebuild. I think that, yeah, if I come up with a way to, you know, make my own version that better suit SMCs, I think that will work nicely. It'll certainly stop the bubble out problem that we have. Okay, where's my other lead? Ah, there it is. Yeah, and the fact, Travis, that they're sort of enforcing it so strongly, it only just makes it so much worse. Okay, that's good. No, that's fine. The only thing I wish is that they didn't use a grub screw to hold it on to the shaft. I would have much preferred they used one of these, you know, just extended bar sort of thing, and off the side. In fact, I could do that. I could, you know, tap a hole in the side and just use a screw, because having a grub screw under there, I don't know, it just seems, it's more awkward than it needs to be. You should be able to pop these things on or off without having to, you know, make a special trip to the toolbox to find the appropriate Allen key to undo that one. Well, it probably does have a T driver that Torx driver I can use. Let's see if we can find a T4, 5. It's a bit naughty using Torx in a hex. T6. I appear not to have a T6. Definitely not T8. Yeah. So it's going to be T6 or something like that. Anyway, the point is, it's a nuisance when all they really need to do is just make this the locking mechanism. Small things like that can make a big difference between a tool that you use once or twice and never again versus a tool that you use all the time. Have you got the board on an angle because the left side... Okay, Steve, that actually is a real problem, and it's something that plagues a lot of microscopes. In fact, probably all of them, I would say. All of these amp scopes and any others that are the same. I'll demonstrate what it is, and I am working on a fix for it. It's just going to take some time. Okay, fundamentally, even though, you know, the resting mount for this is flat relative, or it should be coplanar to the optical plane, you know, the focal plane that you want, at least pretty close to it. But this is where the AMScope sucks great big whatchamacallits. The problem is that on this new variation that they've made, all they've got is a single grub screw driving, holding it in. And so as you drive that in, it has a tendency, I don't know if you can see this, but yeah, you can see the groove in here. It has a tendency to drive that slightly off angle. So within the seat itself, there's a reasonable amount of play. So what we need to do this properly is to actually drill 2 more grub points at 120 degrees to the original. And I'll see if I can demonstrate the drift. Make sure I find something that's not too... Damn it, why can you never find a good spot when you need it? Okay. Microscope. That's severely out of whack there. Okay. But basically, so like I can tilt one way and then the other way, and it will change the focus enough. It's a bit hard to demonstrate really. But like if it's set like that, like it is right now, you can see that the focus is pretty good left to right. There's a little bit of out of focusness going on the very far right side, but overall it's pretty good, and you're kind of more back to just the a spherical type of focal loss. But where it's set like that, that is pretty good. But the trouble is you can't adjust the way that the camera sits with the one grub screw system. So you have to invent, so like where I'm holding it right now, that's where it keeps its plane of focus pretty coplanar to the optical plane. So, but this is where it starts to sit when you put it straight down, and then as soon as you start tightening it up, in fact goes the opposite direction to what you want. Yeah, come on. Yeah, I can feel it. Anyway, so that's what the problem is. And I have tried putting an O-ring in the interface, but it doesn't work. It's still, the grub screw will dominate and force it in the wrong direction. Anyway, so yeah, we need three 120 degree separated points, and then we can adjust the tilt. Looks like there's no, there's no other screw holes. There's just the one here, and that's it. I wish there was, because I would have used them. Maybe use half torus join on the left groove. I don't know. I haven't thought of that. I just would have thought that, you know, putting in an extra 2 holes and tapping them would have made it reasonably okay. But then you've got to also find the right... Yeah, it's tricky. You need a shim. Yeah. That's what I was saying. I can't actually use the shims because in this particular instance, the way I want to tilt it, the grub here will actually counter the shim. It will cause the whole thing to rise above the shim. Mike Sims sent you an email a few days ago. It's a question from Mike Sims. I'm trying to remember what that was about, actually. Sorry, it was the last couple of days have been a little bit unavailabilium with me because I've basically been helping my mother move to a new house, which is kind of really badly timed because we just came up, like today is the 1 year anniversary of losing my father, and yeah, then she had to move house because not her fault, it was some other family did something. And she wasn't able to rent there anymore, so being quite disruptive, and I guess that's why I haven't been overly attentive to my email, so I apologize about that. Can you put in 1 or 2 grub screws? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, is I'll put 2 more on the side at 120 from the other one, and that will then allow you to... You'll basically be in a torque setting match, because you'll be trying to like adjust one to get it to lift and so on and so forth. Yeah. It's about the power port of a ASUS Chromebook. I thought I did actually answer that. I'll have to go check that again. Actually, better off, just send it again, so at least it's right on top of the queue when I get back into the room. Okay then, well, we didn't actually get to handle any of the 20 odd boards left that we have from my haul the other day, but we run out of time and I really need to go fix up that Windows machine. I've got to move the Outlook post file, and it's doing pictures, videos, documents, that's fine. But when you actually got to deal with the the actual application data, what a mess. Just notice that's an FRU. Yeah, there's a lot of those FRU boards around that extra dying. Let's see. Alright, I'm out of here. Look, thank you very much for watching, and you can also rework the screws to fit better in the group. That is true, yes, I can try and file them down, do different shape on them or different diameter on them, or even taper them in a certain way. Anyway, I'm out of here. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it as always, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have another stream, but we'll just have to wait and see how luck goes. And then, maybe we'll have some more luck. Okay, I'm out of here. You take care. I'll see you later.